In this lesson, we're going to take the profile wireframe that we created in the last video and turn it into our high fidelity design. So first thing I'm going to do is hit Command D or Control D with that profile wireframe selected. I'm going to drag that down here where we're going to have our designs at. And we'll just change the name of this to profile-design. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the notification bell and grab the one that we have over here with that notification and just select the artboard and hit Command V or Control V. We'll paste it in the exact location that it is over here. So that's good. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually replace this profile icon with this one. So I'm going to send it to the back, Command Shift left square bracket key, and then I'm just going to delete the gray one. And also let's go ahead and select this trophy icon and we'll change that to our blue that we're using, which is 28A0FC. And that'll give us that. We have Tim Cloaks, that looks good. Below that, we have the UI UX designer text. We need that to stand out. So we're gonna have this where people can click on this and see other UI UX designers, or maybe they get some information about this field. So we're gonna go ahead and change that to a blue. So that has its importance and it stands out a little bit more. Same thing goes with this. This is in blue because you want to click on that and see why he has that. So for these cards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these and I'm going to hold Alt and grab this blue one. I'm just going to drag that one in, Command Shift left square bracket key or Control Shift left square bracket key. Send it all the way to the back, make sure we have 50 spacing. And then I'm going to grab that text and make sure that is centered up inside of here, which it is. Then I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to drag that out into the pasteboard, Command Shift G or Control Shift G, and I'm going to delete the grouping so that all we have is this rectangle by itself. Then I'm going to change the fill color to white and we'll drag that back in. 13 spacing to the right of this one, Command Shift left square bracket key to send it all the way to the back, and then we need to realign this text inside of this square to make sure it's centered. And then we can do that one more time, 13 spacing to the right, and we'll grab the text and make sure that is center aligned inside of there. So these cards are going to be white, and this is going to be what I'm going to call the primary card. So it's going to have the hourly rate, which is what most people are going to be looking for when they want to hire Tim. So I'm going to change this text to white so it looks better on this card. Now right away looking at this, I'm not too happy with how the font is looking. So I'm going to select the text and hit Command Shift G to ungroup it. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see. So we have this at 34 point bold, that's fine, but this medium I'm not liking. So I'm going to set that to a regular, and also let's change it down to 15 points, which I believe is what our secondary font is. So since we've done that, we need to make sure it's still 13 pixels below. I'm going to grab both of them, make sure they're centered together, and Command G or Control G to group that. Then with that text selected, I'm gonna hold Shift and grab the background rectangle and we'll realign that. And I'm gonna do that for the rest of these. So I'm gonna ungroup both of these and I'm gonna grab these texts. And for this, I'm just going to set it to the secondary. So it's actually going to switch to that gray, which is what we want. And I'll make sure the spacing is still the same, 13 pixels below. And we'll make sure those are centered horizontally. Same thing with this one, horizontally centered. And then we can group these two texts together on each card. And finally, we realign that to the center. And sometimes when we realign things, the space can get messed up. So we'll double check to make sure that's all good. And our cards have shifted. So I'm gonna grab this card and make sure they are centered as well. And we have 50 spacing in between each of the sections. So now that the spacing has changed in our design, we need to bump up the body text. So I'll bump that up to 50. And for the text, we're going to leave this at gray. And I'm gonna double click so I can edit the text, and we'll highlight this because we need this to be a button similar to that. So we'll change this to blue. So that way the user knows they can select that. For this button, I wanna make sure this text is centered. Or center align it inside of this rectangle. Make sure we have 50 spacing on the bottom. Looks good. We'll change this rectangle to blue. And we'll also round the corners. Let's try 5. I think that looks pretty good. So let me turn off the guides real quick. So we'll just uncheck that. And this is what we have so far. So that looks pretty good. So not a whole lot changed in between our wireframe and our actual high fidelity wireframe, aka our design between this screen. So I'm going to call that one done. I think this one looks pretty good. I think it came out well. So that's it for this lesson. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.